we've done this talk in 25 minutes. We've done this talk in an hour. Both Onuralp and I have so much to say about joining Fedora and how much we love Fedora. So it could probably go on for 2 hours, but we're going to do our best to keep it to a half hour. Though we do have a break after this. So if we go a few minutes over with Q&A, that's totally fine. Though a lot of the people I see in the chat I'm very familiar with. Though I do see some newcomers. So if you have questions about how to join Fedora, specific groups, how to connect with specific groups, or hey, does my skill set fit here somewhere, or I don't know how to do XYZ thing. How can I start, doing that? Who would I get how would I get a mentor? Like those kinds of questions. We're here to answer and try to help you get connected with the right people and places in the Fedora community so that you can, get started on your Fedora journey, if you will. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about who and what Fedora is, how Fedora is organized, how to join Fedora, like actually do the joining part, how to start contributing to Fedora, and then a couple tips on becoming a successful contributor. So, who and what is Fedora? Since you're here, you probably have a pretty good idea of what Fedora the operating system is, but we're a lot more than that, right? We are people from all over the world that come together to develop the various tools, softwares, and material to promote free and open source software. So here you can see a picture from, I want to say this was the Krakow flock. There's a huge group of us there. Yep. And I think Onuralp, you and I are standing right next to each other, even though we didn't know each other, or something like that. And just we met each other virtually, but you could see there's a huge group of us. And all smiling faces. This was a really, really great event. What's our vision? And actually, Justin talked a little bit about this in his intro, which is the Fedora project envisions a world where everyone benefits from free and open source software built by inclusive, welcoming, and open-minded communities. And we also have a mission statement. Our mission is Fedora creates an innovative platform for hardware, clouds, and containers that enable software developers and community members to build tailored solutions for their users.
And let's talk about the Power Foundation. Fedora has this Power Foundation, which is about we are not just integrate, we also do new things. We build a platform, not just the distribution. Features and the first foundation drive us to innovative. We do all this as transparent, collaborative community of friends, and entirely open source and free software, which is also come with the freedom. Freedom, we will talk about it. Friends are basically our community, our people we met, and also we create a friendship along with the contribution or not just contribution, just meeting people in the events here and there is also very important for our community. And being a first is basically to bring these futures as innovative, is give us the latest software we try to develop, bring into the Fedora distribution as stable as possible. And freedom is, as I mentioned already, about free software as well. And the futures are basically bringing our abilities and new piece of software. Let's talk about Fedora deliverables. This list is kind of old. We may need to give it an update, but we have now Fedora Workstation, which is our main desktop, and we have Fedora IoT for people who want to use ARM-based devices or IoT devices. They want to tinker it. We have Fedora servers, servers or infrastructure. We have Fedora CoreOS. It's also about servers and infrastructure, which is there was a talk yesterday. And we also now have Silverblue, which is our immutable distribution based on Fedora Workstation, similar same desktop. And Also, we have now this release. We also have Fedora Cloud as an addition, which is our new into the list. And then we also have pins and labs based on various use cases on Fedora. And I don't want to talk about too much of it. But people, you can choose it basically pretty much based on tech stuff and also other use cases like Python programming, security, robotics, games, or design. And let's talk about benefits contributing to Fedora. When you join the Fedora team, even if you don't know anything, you can always learn something new about any technology or any skills depend on the team you joined in, and you definitely expand your career, which is definitely good for your business network. And if you want to advance in your career, you definitely have a nice chance about it based on the work you're doing it, because Fedora is always pressing on to the latest technologies as possible as they can. And also, these opportunities gives you so much you can try, experiment as well. And with the community itself, you can always learn new and make this even better. And giving back to communities is definitely a nice attribute, and also nice feedback to community, because when you use something too many times, or it can be tools, it can be a piece of software, it can be anything, it's always good to give back to community based on the feedback the main developers or the people in the Fedora can, of course, make it even better for everyone based on that. And Fedora is not just a small community. We are so big. We have people all around the world, and being part of it is definitely so amazing, because just being part of it is not just a business or just developer or not just design or something. It also gives you a wider variety of people, and you meet different people and cultures. It always gives you a better perspective in your life as well. And of course, it's fun because it's not a job, it's just a hobby. It's you doing in your own time, and you definitely want to be healthy and happy about it as well. And of course, when you join to any events, or you can always get some swags as well, which is a nice addition. For example, shirts, or maybe some I don't know, future beanies or something, or other badges and stickers. I'm looking at Murray, and maybe in the future, we don't know.
We have to look at Justin now.
Ah, yeah, true. I have to change my eyes too, but sorry, old habits, hard to change.
But though, we are coming up on Fedora's 20-year anniversary, and there's already been discussion about a 20-year T-shirt, because we did a 10-year T-shirt, which I don't think I got that one, but there's a 20-year T-shirt.
But just an idea. It's not a real thing. You have to say it first and first. Maybe Fedora in the quote unquote somewhere in some other T-shirt, or in this T-shirt. I don't know. There are some mini quotes. Definitely needs to be part of it. Maybe in the back. Anyway, just an idea.
All right, I'm going to keep moving, but I just want to say that being a part of Fedora has helped me learn so much about the world. I'm from the northeast of the US, and I've just always lived my life here. But being part of Fedora gave me a chance to travel the world, meet people from all over the world, learn about different cultures, and just grow the empathy I have for everyone and how people live their lives in different ways. The friends that I've made are just amazing. People I've known now for like 8 years, I still talk to daily. So for me, friends is one of the most wonderful benefits of being part of Fedora. All right, so I'm going to talk a bit about how Fedora is organized, right? Because it's huge, and it can be kind of overwhelming. So we do have this organizational chart. Once again, I think this is something that could be updated. There's been some changes since this was made in March 2021. So right in the middle, you have the Fedora Council, which I'm going to go a little bit more into on the next slide, so I don't want to talk too much about that. And then you have Mindshare, which is looking at a lot of the outreach aspects of Fedora. And then on the left side, you have the Fedora Engineering Steering Committee, and that's kind of overseeing the more coding and more engineering related parts of the community. I'm going to refrain from saying technical because all of this work is technical, but in its own way. Yes, someone in the comments is saying that chart looks like it's from a huge company, and we are huge. We have so much going on. So you'll see on the left side, we have additions and spins. So those we talked a little bit about before, but then all the way to the left, you have all kinds of groups that are working on different parts of engineering in Fedora. Everything from packaging to release engineering to infrastructure, the different alternate architectures, EPL. So you got a lot of different kinds of engineering and coding related things happening over there. And on the right side, you have stuff like mentored projects and ambassadors, design, websites and apps, which kind of actually is like a little bit of both worlds, I'd say. But directly connected to the council is the diversity, equity, and inclusion team. And so a part of that is Fedora Women, Fedora Week of Diversity, which we just had a session on, Fedora Pride, and we also have these things called objectives. So those are 6 to 24 month objectives that are like, what's the right word, proposed by people in the community and led by people in the community to kind of revamp or bring a lot of light or resources to one particular project. So in the past, we've had things like modularity and, Fedora at educational spaces. And I just wrapped up a revamp of the outreach with Sumantro and Mariana, for example. And right now we have websites and apps revamp going on, and there's going to be a session a little bit later today about that. So there's a lot of different parts. I have a dream, a vision of this being an interactive map. I don't know where that is, but maybe one day we'll have an interactive map of this sort of thing where it can lead you to the documentation and the right channels and that sort of thing. Okay. I mentioned I was going to talk a little bit more about the governing bodies of Fedora, and I think it's important to know because these are groups that can give you resources or can help you get things done in Fedora, right? So the Fedora Council is that top-level community leadership and governance body, and it's responsible for the stewardship of Fedora as a whole, right? And supporting the health and the growth of the Fedora community as a whole. So making decisions around policies, making decisions around budget, making decisions around our trademark, trying to guide the strategy for the Fedora project as a whole. The Fedora Engineering Steering Committee is a fully community elected body and represents the coding and engineering leadership in Fedora. They're responsible for the technical issues and coordination of engineering resources for the project. So they're making decisions about what's getting into the operating system, what's not, processes around packaging, and that sort of thing. And then you have the Mindshare Committee. So they represent more of the non-coding outreach leadership in Fedora. And this is the body you would go to ask for money to run an event or for swag for some conference that you might be attending or something you want to do on social media, but maybe you don't have all of the resources you need and you'd like to get connected. So it consists mainly of appointed individuals, but there's also elected members. And I was a part of Mindshare for a long time, so I'm just going to plug them, say they're an awesome group of people, and say that we always are willing to take answers there, or, try to help you find the answers that you need. So take questions there. Okay, back to you, Onuralp.
How do I join the Fedora community? Well, guys, first things you have to do, be courageful and don't be afraid. It'll be fine. We are all friendly. We all gonna help you in the every step as possible as we can. And definitely we're gonna have to provide a documentation and for newbies to getting on their feet, but because Sometimes some aspect of the groups need some preparing and reading. So basically, that's also very important. Another part is we're going to guide you, of course. I'm going to show you how to turn into them the successfully contributors. We definitely want to have also try to establish a better mentor-mentee relationship among the other contributors, prospective and executive contributors, which is very important. There are a lot of people in the community. He's been there a very long while, so they can give you more about their background or what is going on. Very helpful. And one last part is definitely very important: communication. It means providing a comfortable communication channel with every prospective contributors are very important, because without communication, without talking each other, we can move on. So that's very also important to everyone, even in existing contributors as well. So we always open to that. So we look for potential, not for polish. Is basically we want to have, if we just see a glimpse of potential, it's like a nice possibilities. We would like to have it and try to make it better and shinier and nicer. So it's always important to that. Just trusting yourself, try to do your best is always important, because we always going to help you in every step, however we can.
Right. And I'll just add here that to me, this means you don't have to come with all of the skills you might think you need. Don't be overwhelmed by the fact that you're a beginner. That's great. The most important thing that you can bring to Fedora is enthusiasm and energy. Because a lot of us have been here around a long time and we might be a little tired. So when we see other people enthusiastic about things, that is, really gets us going and gets, rallies people around that. So you don't need to have a ton of skills to be a part of Fedora. We can help you learn those. So this sounds great. Where do you start, right? So the first thing you want to do is to make a Fedora account at accounts.fedoraproject.org. This is something that keeps track of all your different activities, projects, and it's also how you will sign into various places such as discussion and Pajor and these sorts of places. The Fedora Join Sig will give you a welcome ticket. So you might not know exactly what you want to do. So the Join Sig aims to help you explore the community, take a look at your interests, and find something that suits you. And then what do you do once you join, right? So first you're going to want to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself on discussion, introduce yourself to maybe some teams you're interested in, join some mailing lists, join a Pajor group, and just check out and explore. Take a look at what's going on inside of Fedora, take a look at the sub-projects, the special interest groups, and take a look at how people are contributing to them currently. The Join Sig will check in on the progress that our prospective contributors are making. So you can always go back to the Join Sig if you need more support or more information, or on the off chance that maybe you didn't have the greatest interaction. Sometimes it happens. All right, back to you, Onuralp.
So how do I start contributing? I actually did a couple of links about welcoming, so I want to check it. And let's talk about some coding roles. So there are a very core part of the Fedora roles in our community. One of them is one of the important one is packaging. So every single package you install in Fedora is coming from the packagers. They're all voluntarily work. And they do their best to give us the nice quality of packages. I myself also packager, so I'm trying to try my best to ensure packages are in good shape. Secondly, the release engineering is basically working with many other tools and tools, try to release the next Fedora versions, make sure respect upstream locations, and maintain it. Next is also a very important part, quality assurance. Fedora QA is also cover all the tests. or make up the Fedora, because we want to continually improve our quality of the Fedora releases and update it, because testing is always important to make sure it's works. Next is infrastructure, which is we have a lot of Fedora services. We need to keep up with them. We need to keep them online. So that's where it's coming. Fedora website and app development is basically our websites and app teams working on it as in front end and back end to make sure our websites are up and running in all aspects. So they also have a relationship with infrastructure, make sure it's all fine. Internalization is about translation to the Fedora into the many different languages in around their services, websites, and tooling around redevelop.
Cool. So I'm going to talk about the non-coding roles. We talked a little about translation as a coding role, and that has to do with Weblate, but we also need manual translations because those don't do it. Weblate doesn't do it perfectly, right? Like all of the grammar and the way that it actually translates out needs a little bit of tweaking by hand, right? So we also have the localization project working on that. Just if you know a language, you can go in and check out some documentation and work on translating that to your language. Community outreach. There's all kinds of things going on under community outreach. We have ambassadors, we have advocates, we have community operations. We have a bunch of different groups doing outreach in different ways. We also have the diversity, equity, and inclusion team, which spoke just a few moments ago. So that's focused on doing different events, initiatives, team meetings. We try to advise the council and Mindshare as we can. So that's another great group to get involved in. We also have graphic design and UI UX going on, and that's involved in connected to all the different groups. Like we're making logos for editions. We're helping with the front end of websites. We're providing assets for events. So the graphic design and UI UX, we always need more people, and we have plenty of different places to get involved. We have a podcast. I don't think that they're producing episodes right now, but I think we have at least 2 seasons of that. And I'd love to see another season come up, but I think we need more people who are interested. We also have the Fedora magazine, and we have a community blog, which we welcome submissions for, or even pitches for the Fedora magazine. There's documentation. We can always use more documentation. We can always use updated documentation, translated documentation. We can never have enough work on documentation. So if you're a writer, then please join us. Program management / project management. We have a group. They're somewhat inactive right now, but I know that Ben is still around and would be willing to advise if people want to work on project management. It's a really important part of really any team, making sure things are staying on track and on schedule and doing some of the communications and coordination that's necessary. Also, we have mentorship. We have mentored projects in an official way, and we also have mentoring in kind of an unofficial capacity. And we're always looking for people to, pass their knowledge on, and for people who want to be mentored. So we are at the end of our time. I see that there's some Q&A. So this part's really quick. Onuralp, do you want to jump in?
Yes, I will do my best. And we also have a break, so we can take some minutes. So let's talk about how do you become a successful contributor, which is, so when we all started at some point, and that means we all need to practice it as well, which is, it's a good thing to be done. Thank you. So what you keep in mind is the time commitment, because you have to definitely balance your time strongly, because that is very, very important. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Just take what you can, not much, not less. Do it in your own good time, and make sure it's all nice as well. Observation is definitely also important piece, because when you join any team, you want to see how they are functioning, and what they're doing is definitely gives you an idea how they are doing, and also what they are working on. And pick something, if it is important for you, or if you have some passion on it. And evolving interest doesn't going to be locked on in the team forever, but make sure if you want to do it. So based on the other situations, when you observe and do your time management, then start working on it. Hopefully it'll work. And if you start struggle something, they will help you. And also, don't just try to avoid on something too technical. Make sure take it a nice first step. Try to walk first and make sure it's all good. And if you want to have some problem, if it is challenging or hard based on the themes or situation, find yourself a mentor, and it's definitely going to increase your chance. Ask for help. It's always good to get some help. It could be anyone gives you a nice suggestion based on the team, so they will make you a successful contributor. And also keep yourself busy when you do something to work on. If you are ready, and set up your time and just do it. And it can be even something small, mundane, doesn't matter. Definitely, you have to don't discourage and just observe more and try to learn. And after that, you will be successful, hopefully. And we all believe you.
I think part of the point of this slide is that what the subtext, I guess, if you will, is that working within a community is all about trust, right? So you want to take on something small to start so that you can kind of, you have an accomplishment, right? You want to find a mentor so that they can help you, connect you to the right people that you might want or need to do what you want to do in Fedora, right? And keeping yourself busy, it's about following through on the commitments that you've made, right? That trust that you build with other community members and following through on what you said you're going to do is really how you build that trust with other folks.
Exactly.
So diversity is one of Fedora's strengths, but it can also lead to communication issues and conflict. It happens in every single community. Fedora is super friendly, but we are a ton of people, and just like any group of people, sometimes conflict happens. So it comes down to each contributor to ensure that it doesn't escalate and doesn't get to a place where it's unfixable, right? So how to do this? You want to be considerate of others, right? Like you don't know what's going on in their life. You don't know what kind of day they're having. You don't know what their cultural background is. And that's why it's important to be considerate to others and to be respectful. We're not always going to agree. People have strong opinions about software and technology and what's right to use and what's wrong to use and different processes. So it's important to be respectful when you're having these conversations, because escalation is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get Fedora anywhere. So it's important to be considerate and be respectful when you're, working with fellow Fedorans. So that's it. We went 3 minutes over. Thank you so much for listening to our talk and being here today. I saw a lot of people who are unfamiliar with in the chat, but I also saw some new people, and I see that we have some Q&A as well. So let's go over there. Is there a website with possible mentors for us to get in touch with? So Jefferson, I think that this really depends on what you're interested in, right? So the first thing I would point you to is the Fedora joystick. They're the ones that are going to help you find and connect you with the folks in the area that you might be interested in Fedora, right? So in each individual area, there's going to be people who are interested in mentoring, and then also people who might not have time to mentor, right? So the Fedora joystick will help you get connected with that. And I also see another question that we answered throughout the presentation, but I'm just going to point it out here. Would be nice to find out if there's a way to contribute for those that are non-coders. Is there any way of getting involved if you're non-technical? And absolutely yes. There's so many different things to do in Fedora. We need all the different kinds of functions, and Ben made a really great comment in the chat as we went that we need basically everything a mid-sized company would need besides payroll. So yes, non-coding contributions are absolutely welcome and encouraged. We want people who aren't coders. I'm not a coder myself, and I've been involved in Fedora since 2013. and I had the privilege to be the Fedora Community Action Impact Coordinator for the last 3 years. Just very recently left that role. So I don't code at all. I didn't end up coding even through all that time. So you don't have to be a coder to be a part of Fedora, and you can still be very integral to how the community works and operates. Any more questions that we can answer?
By the way, I share the links of the welcoming committee links and all the other chats and information. Sorry about that. In our chat, Dan is saying that Marie's ability to avoid learning it is inspiration for non-coders, apparently.
Yes.
But I see Marie doing some scripting and some other stuff on her computer. Guys, you never know. There are some secret skills.
Occasionally.
Okay, but hey, I see it. It's in action. It works. It's fine.
I have been known to just go into the documentation and just merge my documentation changes without a PR, just like right in the browser. I'm like, this is going to go great. Click the button. So, yeah, thank you, Ben. I'm glad that I've inspired you.
Also, what was I saying is, for lastly, is I shared a lot of links for mailing and joining the Matrix channel, join the Telegram or Discord. If you wanna have more questions, you can ask people over there. They will help you. Also, we have also Face channel in our Matrix, so you can see all kind of community teams in there. So it may help you to fit in as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.